right, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to another exciting broadcast with us here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. I know we've got some familiar faces in the crowd, but if you're new to us, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. Now, today is crazy special because today epitomizes what we're all about. We're starting today, of course, with lions live in Kenya, talking about some of the amazing conservation work that EWASO Lions does. We're going live with the Rito Hall Foundation to talk about entrepreneurship and Ingenious Plus later. We're live on a ship in the Pacific Ocean, the EV Nautilus, and then we wrap up the day with Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons. So it's like an insane, crazy, fun day, and it's so nice if you'd all join us as we kick it off in style. Now, again, if you want to share this with your family and friends later, it will be going to YouTube. Check it out. Share it in 3 weeks, 3 years. It doesn't matter. Lots of opportunity to keep the learning going. And on that channel, we've done many other programs with our speakers organization today. So if you want to keep the learning going, lots of ways to do just that. As I hinted at the beginning, we are joined live in Kenya with Evanson Kariuki. He is the education manager for EWASO Lions. They are an amazing conservation organization working to protect one of the world's greatest animals, the most recognizable animal possibly on planet Earth, the lion. But they're under threat, and it really takes a lot of people and quite literally a village to help protect them and save them in their natural environment, bring them back from the brink. So we're going to hear about some of the amazing stories of EWASO Lions today. I can't wait. You guys are in for such a treat. And without further ado, Evanson, thank you so much for joining us today, man, and welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much, Jesse, and thank you for a very good introduction.
My pleasure. It's easy to have a good introduction when there's someone as cool as you, man.
Thank you.
But yes, I know you've got a lot to share with us. So if you want to dive in, I'll bring up the screen to be full screen and you can get me through all the next slides. We're going to do this together.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about our lions, our community, and our future. This is a presentation by Evanson Kariuki from EWASO Lions. So EWASO Lions, the name EWASO Lions comes from a river, EWASO Nilo, that traverses through the landscape where we work. And you can see it in my slide. That is EWASO River. Next. And then we are going to talk about lions. But why about lions? What is it about lions that is making us want to have this discussion? Lions are under threat, immense threat. Currently in Africa, we have about 20,000 lions only that are remaining in the wild. In Kenya, we have about 2,500 that are remaining. And the numbers are going down year after year. And this is as a result of many reasons that we are going to talk about in a minute. One of the reasons that the lions' numbers are declining is because of lack of space. The space for lions is shrinking. Where I am seated right now, I am seated next to Nairobi National Park. And Nairobi National Park is a very small national park that hosts about 40 lions. The space is not enough for them in the national park alone. So the lions occasionally have to move out of the park to look for prey. The other problem that lions are facing is lack of food. As a result of climate change, increase in human populations, space is declining, they don't have enough food on their own, and then comes issues of conflict, as we'll be seeing later in the presentation. Go to the next slide. So in the pasturage, you can see from my maps, I have got 2 maps of Africa. The pasturage, you can see in the pink color, that is where lions used to exist. And you can see we have had 75% age reduction in the last century. So currently, populations of lions are just in isolated, scattered areas that don't have continuity. And this is one of the reasons why when we talk about loss of corridors, dispersal corridors, it comes with a lot of impact. So lions cannot move from one area to another, and this reduces the range that they are able to operate in. So approximately 20 lions remain in Africa, and most of them are in the southern part of Africa. Kenya has a good number, 2,500. But when I was being born, some in the late 70s, Kenya had a population of 10,000 lions, and now we only have 2,500. So you can see the rate of decline that the lions are going through. Next slide. So, how many lions do we lose in Kenya per year? It is important to talk about this because if we don't, then we might think that the situation is not as bad as it is reported. Every year in Kenya, we lose about 100 lions from various reasons. Some of them are lost through collision with vehicles because you find some highways pass through wildlife areas, through national parks. So when lions want to close to the other part of the park, they come across fast-moving traffic, people who are unaware about the presence of lions, vehicles will knock them down and they will die. Another reason why we lose lions is because by their very nature, lions are normally very territorial animals. And you'll find that a male will protect its territory, but another male would want to come and take over the territory. So in the challenge for territory, when fighting erupts, whoever is defeated will normally end up being killed. And more so, whoever takes over a new territory will go ahead and kill all the cubs that he has not sired so that he can sire his own cubs. So that also increases the mortality on lion cubs. Another reason for why the numbers are going down is they lack food. Lions' food, which is the prey species, the herbivores, their numbers are declining rapidly. As human population increases, we take up more space, our corridors are lost. Then you add issues of climate change when we have recurrent droughts. Like last year, we had a very serious drought. Herbivores, if they don't have any food, they will die out. And when they die out, lions have no food. But the major threat to lions is conflict with humans. And this conflict is emanating from lions lacking food, and they go to hunt livestock. So that is one of the major causes of the conflict. Go to the next slide. Next slide. Next. Yeah, so every year, one block goes, 100 lions are gone. Another block, 100 lions are gone. Another year, another block, lion is gone. So if we have 2,500 lions remaining, it means in the next 25 years, if we do not do the work that we are doing, we may end up not having any lions in Kenya in the wild. So that is what this means. Losing 100 every year, and we only have 2,500, then that doesn't point a very good picture. Go to the next slide. That picture shows the landscape where we work in northern Kenya. The landscape is bare, very degraded, and it is very fast. So when it doesn't rain, then there are trouble for livestock, for people, and for wildlife together with the lions. So in this kind of landscape, there is barely no grass. Herbivores like the antelopes, the warthogs, the zebras that lions would ordinarily go for, they don't have anything to feed on, then it means they will cease to exist, they will die out. And when they die out, then lions have no food. So that shows the landscape where we work in, how it is degraded. Next. So when there is no food for lions, they will turn to livestock, which is easy kill for them. And with livestock, our research has shown that lions will take the livestock that is lost. You find that in northern Kenya, it is the children who go herding livestock. It is the responsibility of kids. Not many of them go to school, unlike in other parts of the world where it's compulsory for kids to go to school. In northern Kenya and with pastoral communities, most of the children are sent to herd livestock, and that is the only school that they know about. So occasionally they will lose, a cow will be left behind, gets lost. The same case with a camel, and this is what predators will go for. And when this happens, then that is when conflict rises up. It is people value livestock so much. It is their only forms of livelihood. So when the livestock is killed, people are unhappy, and as a result of that, they will retaliate and kill lions in retaliation. Next slide. So here we have a picture of a lion called Lulgeti. He was a male lion, and you find that in northern Kenya, not all male lions have manes. I'm sure most of you are tempted to think that all the lions will have a beautiful mane. But in northern Kenya, because it is desert-like, it is very hot, the lions don't keep men. Male lions don't keep men. A few of them do, because it is a fast landscape, and most of them will move to cooler areas when they have a mane. In search of territory, they will come over to the north, and they will keep their mane, but some of them don't have. So this is Lord Getty. He was a star lion traversing the landscape, but he went far low from the protected area and waded into community areas and killed livestock until one day he was killed. This year, during March this year, he was killed. Next slide. So in the next slide, I'm going to talk about the few programs that EWASO Lions lands, and these are the programs that ensure that we continue to have lions in northern Kenya. One of the programs is called Warrior Watch. Another one is called Mama Simba. There is Lion Kids Camp. There is a research program, Cool as Pride. We have a bioinfrastructure program and a scholarship program. Next slide. So Warrior Watch. Where we work, it is in a place called Samburu. And in Samburu, we have a tribe called the Samburu. These are Samburu gentlemen, Samburu warriors. Samburu warriors are the ones who are charged with protecting the community from any threat, any external threat. So they are the ones who are responsible for taking any threat that faces the community head on. And as warriors, if lions become a problem, it is their responsibility to protect the community from lions. So what EWASO Lions has done is it started a program for warriors, so that warriors are converted and they become conservationists. And these warriors can go out meeting their peers, other warriors, and telling them about the importance of lions. And not just telling them about the importance of lions, they also report the presence of lions. They go out tracking lions every day in the morning on foot. And for the few lions that we have put the GPS collar, once we know the location where the lions are, we pass the information to these warriors. And these gentlemen will spend the day telling the communities about where the lions are resting, so that community can avoid taking their livestock near the lions. That way we are able to save the lions and livestock from being predated on. So Warrior Watch is one of the flagship projects that we run, and warriors are very instrumental in changing the perception among their peers, the other warriors, to keep protecting lions. Next slide. And in that picture, you can see warriors telling herders about the presence of lions. Don't go to that area, lions are there. So take your livestock to this other direction, and that way we save livestock and we save the lions. They also are responsible for taking back lost livestock to the owners to make sure that they don't wander out overnight. Otherwise, they will be killed by lions. Next slide. And there you can see one of our program leaders talking to warriors, and they are very helpful in terms of passing information. They walk long distances and they can move with information from here and deliver it miles away. Next. So the next program is Lion Kids Camp. This is a program that is very dear to me. It is the program that I lead. So the vision for this kids camp is to encourage coexistence between people and wildlife in northern Kenya. That is the wider mission of EWASO Lions. So we are dealing with kids in this program, and we deal with two demographics: the school-going kids and the kids who never go to school. We call them the hardened kids. The hardened kids, every morning they wake up, they will open the livestock and take the livestock out for the day. They go grazing and only come back in the evening. They have a lot of impact on wildlife and hardly no training at all about conservation or wildlife conservation. So at Lion Kids Camp, we normally host them for 5 days, and we give them an immersive wildlife experience. We take them on wildlife safaris where they are able to see wild animals, including lions. They play wildlife drama. We show them wildlife films. We have classroom presentations where we tell them about the threats facing lions and what they can do to protect them. We teach them about better herding practices so that they don't lose livestock when they go herding. We teach them who to report to in case there is a conflict so that we avoid lions getting into trouble. We teach them when they go herding and they spot lion tracks, what they are supposed to do to save their own livestock and also the livestock for others. So this is a very important program that we are. And as these kids grow, they grow up empowered, and in future they are likely to take roles like roles for wildlife rangers, safari guides. They can work in tourist industry and so forth. So kids camp. Let's go to the next slide. So since inception, we have had 33 camps, and nearly 1,000 kids have enjoyed 5-day immersive wildlife experience with us. And as you can see, we have a bush bus that we take kids in on a game drive. They see animals alongside other tourists. And this way, we are able to give them a positive wildlife experience. As opposed to when they go herding, they encounter elephants at watering holes, elephant will chase them away, or they have lost a camel to a lion or a hyena, and they are very sad about that, and they have very negative perceptions about wildlife. But once they come on this program, they go home with very positive experiences. Next slide. Oh yeah, so we take them on a game drive, we come close to elephants or animals, very close, and then we explain about their importance. They see visitors who come from all over the world to see what we have, and when they go home, they start being champions of wildlife conservation, and they act as message multipliers. They go and pass the message that we have given to them to the wider community. Next slide. Those are kids waving at us as we were taking them back home. Next slide. We also have a conservation obstacles game, very popular with kids, especially the herding kids. This game, we put kids into the shoes of a lion. So thinking how it is to be like a lion living in a community dominated area. So there are many obstacles that the lion has to avoid as it finds its way through the landscape. The lion will need to go to the water hole to get water. This water hole is shared by the community. There is livestock. They need to avoid livestock, otherwise it leads to conflict. But they will need to get wild prey so that they can get their meal. They are burning bushes, there are houses, there are rabid dogs that they need to traverse through so that they move from one wildlife area to another safe refuge, safe from one park to another, passing through community areas. This game is normally very popular with kids, and at the end of the day, they are able to know how it is like to be a lion living through a community area. Next. We teach them about how to identify who has killed their livestock. If unfortunately you come across your goat that has been killed by a predator, not only lions could be responsible, it could be a leopard, it could be a hyena, it could be a wild dog, and it could be a cheetah. So we teach kids on what to look at so that they can conclusively report who was responsible for killing their livestock. Next slide. We also teach them about the importance of safe refuge for wildlife. Some pockets of land have been set aside by community for wildlife conservation, and nobody is allowed to take livestock there. So this is where wildlife, including lions, will go and rest when they are moving from one area to another. So we teach kids, especially herding kids, the importance of these safe refuge areas so that they can avoid them. You don't bring your livestock to a wildlife area. And they go home with this message, and it goes to many people. Next slide. Kids on game drive are enjoying the use of binoculars for their first time. It is a real experience for them. Next. And we also do wildlife drama, where we give them scripts and they practice. And on the last day of the program, on the 4th day, we call a big community meeting where they present what they have learned to the community. And again, they are also able to pass messages like don't encroach into the park with your livestock. If you lose your livestock to predators, this is what you should do. You should report for compensation. This is the individual you need to contact, and so forth. So the kids will carry that message when they go home. Next slide. And of course, we show them lions in the wild. and we tell them about the importance. We tell them about how we identify different lions, because different lions have different identities, just like us human beings. We use the whisker spot patterns to tell them apart. So we teach them about that, and then when they see lions, they can be able to tell if it is a male lion or if it is a juvenile, if it's a cub, and so forth. Next slide. We show them about lion cubs and why lion cubs will need the support of everyone so that it can grow up to become a mature lion. Next. The next program is Mama Simba. Mama is a woman in Kiswahili, Simba is lion. So these are community women who came and say, you see, you people at EWASO Lion, you have a program for warriors, for kids, but none for women. And women play a very important role in the society. When they go fetching firewood or fetching water or herding their livestock, it is in wild areas and they encounter wildlife every day. So it is an important demographic, and that is why we came up with a program for women called Mama Simba. Next slide. What is it that Mama Simba do? Their mission is to bring back wildlife to women because they believe wildlife originally belonged to women. They do lion habitat recovery. They do drought support. They do culture and conservation. They help in lion monitoring. They go for environmental literacy classes, and they do community engagement and awareness. If we have a message we want to send to the community, send it through the women, it will get to everyone. So that's what they do. And in the next slides, we'll see the work that they do. Next slide. Here, the women are doing lion habitat recovery work. They are actually cutting out and digging out invasive species. We have a challenge with invasive species in northern Kenya. One of them is called Madhenge, Prosopis juliflora. It is a plant that is expanding rapidly and covering huge areas. So these Mama Simba ladies go out and cut down and uproot the invasive species to make sure that we continue to have space for wildlife. Next slide. And here they are doing lion habitat recovery. Because the area, as I showed in the previous slide, the area is so degraded. So here they come up with grass plots where they can be able to grow glass seeds, plant glass seeds, control erosion, and make sure that the areas have fully recovered. So this is one of the plots that they work on, and as you can see, glass is growing. And this is a very good step because when glass grows, we know that lion food is going to be available. They believe that lions need glass, and they need glass because the food that lions eat, that is the herbivores, they have to feed on vegetation and glass. So if there is glass, there will be lion food. That is the connection. Next slide. In the northern Kenya, I showed you the EWASO River. It is a seasonal river. Because of climate change and human activities upstream, the river dries up at some point during the year. So these Mama Simba ladies will go out digging water holes in the dry riverbed so that lions and other wild animals can get water. So here they are digging holes to make sure that livestock, wildlife get water. Next slide. Here they are in a classroom. They set aside one day every week. They go and get taught about environmental literacy. And we have a teacher who is dedicated for teaching them so that they are at par with the rest of the world in terms of environmental literacy. Next slide. They also help in lion monitoring, like when most of us take our off duties and are not at work, the women will go and monitor the presence of lions and report to the community, and they are playing a very important role in this manner. Next slide. And here they organize community meetings where they talk about culture and conservation, because culture and conservation are two are intertwined. We still have lions and other wildlife remaining in northern Kenya because the culture of the people encourages coexistence. And the Mama Simba ladies are working to make sure that we don't lose the culture. Next slide. Coolers Pride. Next slide. This is a program that is working to protect transmission of diseases between wild animals and livestock, or from livestock to wild animals. Next slide. What they do, there are diseases like rabies, for example. This is a rabid dog. This picture is not from Kenya. It was taken in Tanzania, but it is a picture that we use to show the connection. This is a rabid dog taking on a lion. If it bites the lion will get rabies. The lions will go biting other animals and transmit the rabies disease. So the Cooler Sprite program is working tirelessly to make sure that this is stopped. Next slide. This is a wild dog, the painted dog, a sick one with a disease that we call canine distemper. So the Cooler Sprite people go vaccinating domestic dogs because they are the reservoirs of rabies and canine distemper, so that it doesn't go to the wild dogs. Next slide. Here, that is our veterinarian. She is out vaccinating dogs. Every year we do vaccination campaign and we go out vaccinating community dogs so that they are healthy. Next. Yeah, she goes looking at puppies, making sure that they are all healthy and advising people about how to take care of them. Next. And here is a young girl taking her cat to be vaccinated. Next. A dog waiting for her chance to be vaccinated, Longilo. Next. And we also treat those that get injured when they go out herding, and she will go and help. Just treat them because it is the only service that is available. Next. Apart from domestic dogs, this community animal welfare initiative helps in treating livestock that get injured by predators. Like a lion will attempt to bring down a camel. It will get injured but escape while still alive, but with injuries. So the Cooler Sprite program will go and treat those injured camels for the community. Next. They also do a lot of awareness so that people know about diseases and how to avoid them, how to report sick dogs, and so forth. So here on the left-hand side, they were showing environmental film at night in a community. And here the woman on the right-hand side is holding a poster about rabies and canine distemper. Next. And we also teach people about how to take good care of their dogs. Next. The next program is about research. They do lion conservation status, human wildlife conflicts. They work on lion monitoring. They monitor other wildlife. They do attitude surveys in the community, and they also do a tool watch. This is where we get them. They lead us in collecting data on animals that are killed along our highways. Next slide. So they also help us in collaring lions, and this is because lions move in wide areas. Collared lions are very helpful in helping us protect them. Once we know where they are, we can tell the communities and they can avoid those areas. Next. There we were collaring a lion. Next. A map here showing the number of our collared lions, how they move. The lead is a collared lions, the area they like to stay most. This was Lolgeti moving from our area. Ours is up here going to the protected areas, the Buffalo Spring and Shaba Reserve, and going further outside the park where he finally got killed. Next. We help people with conflicts. Once your goats are killed by predators, it could be wild dog, it could be hyena, it could be leopard. We have an officer dedicated to helping communities report these cases to Wildlife Service so that they can get compensated. Next. And the warriors, the number of livestock that is saved from predators, lost livestock that is saved, the warriors that they have saved in the last 1 year is 212. And this is about camels, cows, goats, and so forth. Next. Research people, they record correlation between wildlife and vehicles along our highways. Next. So we also have a bioinfrastructure program where we work in close collaboration and partnership with the Glefe Zebra Trust so that as government infrastructure projects come into northern Kenya, they can factor issues to do with wildlife conservation. For example, there are breeding areas for layer animals. Those areas don't need to be disturbed. If they dig trenches, they have to cover them up, otherwise the animals will fall into them. They need to create corridors so that wildlife can be able to move from one area to another and so forth. So that is a partnership project. Next. We also work with bioinfrastructure people to work on the invasive species. All the green vegetation you can see is invasive species. The one that I was talking about. It is taking up huge areas and we need to control it. It's along the riverine forest. Next. Last but not least, we have a scholarship program where the organization has sponsored about 19 children from the local community. We have taken them to high school, to colleges, and to universities, and make sure that they get best of education so that they can come back and help us in wildlife conservation and also take up other roles as wildlife ambassadors. Last slide. Yeah, so that's where we end. We say Ashe Oleng, thank you so much in Samburu language. That is all about my presentation.
Thank you so much, Evanson. Honestly, I don't think there's any conservation organization in the world that covers so many different facets of trying to save an individual creature. Like, you guys do such incredible work. I highlighted that at the beginning. I will send this to all our audience again if people want to find out more. Dive in, donate as a class if you're keen. But what we're going to do now is dive in with questions. So YouTubers, please feel free to share in the chat. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Live classes, I'm going to be coming to you all individually. We got a whole bunch of great groups today. So a big thank you to our audience for joining in around North America. I'm going to start just with an easy one. When you're in and around lions, are you ever concerned about getting injured or attacked? Are you worried about that when you're out in lion habitat or not?
Not because we work in an area that we have grown up in. We have shared the space with them. Our forefathers shared the space with them. Yeah. So it is a way of life. And as I said, the warriors will track lions on foot until they know in which bush the lion is hiding for the day. Yeah. Because the area is so hot, they don't move at night. So they don't move during daytime, they only move at night. So the warriors will do that on foot, and we have never had an incident, not even one, where the lions have attacked us.
There you go. So, I mean, it's funny, from a Canadian or American audience context today, of course, if we ran into a lion, that would be a bit of a different scenario. But I like that you highlight that you've been there, you know this land, you know how to engage around lions, you know how to make sure that you're not in a situation where you're ever likely to be at risk. So I always like to lead off with that question when people are predator biologists and conservationists. So thank you, Evanson. We're going to head to Miss Green's class. If you guys want to come on in and take us away 4-5s, Miss Lango and our Lake Avenue folks are coming next. But yeah, come on in, Miss Green, to kick us off.
Come on, my friend. Sorry, we've got the lights up so we can see you better.
No worries. Hey.
Ask your question, my friend.
How do you know how much lions there are?
I don't think he could hear you.
How do you know how much lions there are?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I had the question. By actively monitoring the number of lions, we are able to tell if a new individual has come into our study area, because there are people out every day, people tracking on foot, people tracking on vehicles. We get reports from safari guides who we work closely with. We are able to know at any given time. If we have a new arrival, we are able to know who it is, and we identify them. We give them identity, so we can be able to tell this is so and so. This is new. So and so has not been seen. That's how we do that.
Yeah, fantastic. A quick note for our classes. We've got a bunch of classes that have devices on. I will come to you live. Mr. Rogowski's class, you guys don't have devices on, so you will need to share in the chat. But everyone else, I'm coming to you in just a second, I promise. I'm going to head to Miss Lango's class with so many kids on the floor. There's a ton of you. Unmute your mic, and you're good to go. Hey. Hello, everybody.
So, how do you track the lions?
Yeah, how do you track them, Evanson?
We track by foot. Once you find the lion track, the foot track, you follow that track wherever it goes until you know. If you lose it, it is inside a bush. You go out the bush to make sure that the track has not gone out, and you identify the lion is there. The other method we do like in parks, because you cannot go on foot in a national park.
Yeah.
There we have teams, dedicated teams. We have 3 teams that do lion monitoring. Every day they drive out looking for lions. And once they see them, they photograph them. They draw the whisker spot patterns so that they know which individuals it is that they have seen. We also have a WhatsApp group where everyone working for EWASO Lion can report any sighting of lion or any presence of a lion in a particular area.
Evanson, 2 quick notes. One is that I love that you have a WhatsApp group. WhatsApp has become the main source of conservation sharing information in the world. Every time we have people on Asia, Africa, South America, North America, they use WhatsApp for their communication. And 2, you hit upon something that I think is really, it's challenging for kids to understand. I know when I was a boy, if I thought about animals, I thought about them, and I loved animals, but like as a diffuse group, not as individuals. And so when conservationists are involved with wildlife, they do know them as individuals. They know where they are. They have collar trackers on. They follow them. And we see this, around the world. But it's a weird way to shift your mind. You start thinking about, an individual lion, an individual polar bear, an individual rhino. And that makes such a big difference because you come to recognize them. And I think that's a really special part of the work that you do. So thank you for that. Let's head to Lake Avenue Public School. Ms. Wally's class, if you want to unmute your mic. I know your camera's off, but you're good to go. Hey, guys.
I don't know what's going on with our camera, but we'll figure it out for next time.
Next time.
Come and ask your question.
Hey.
How long do lions live for?
Yes, great question.
Depending on a number of factors, like if there is no food, a lion cub will not survive. If there is no food and the mother cannot produce milk, it will not survive. If a lion is injured, especially in a harsh terrain like northern Kenya where you work, chances of surviving may not be very high. But in a normal setup, in a wild setup where lions are not disturbed and they get their food, they will live. They can live up to 20 years in the wild.
Yeah. Which even that is interesting. I think, when I grew up, I assumed a lot of animals lived as long as people lived. We're one of the longest lived creatures in the world. Like we can live to 80, we can live to 100. 20 is actually a very respectable age for a large animal. That's quite sort of standard practice. So I'm glad we got that question. Evanson, I want to share something too. Miss Dykstra's class on YouTube, just wanted to share how inspiring it is, all the work that you do. I also want to highlight the kids camp. I want to come to your kids camp. I wish I had opportunities like that when I was a kid. That looked amazing. Miss Puente's class, we're going to head to you guys. If you want to unmute your mic, I can come in and check Miss Rogowski's class. You guys can share in the chat, but let's see if you are keen to do a question. Come on up, unmute. Hey, folks. Should work. Theory.
Do you know how much lions there are in the world?
In the whole world, Evanson.
I can comfortably talk about Africa because Africa is our specialty. In Africa, we have about 20,000. We estimate about 20,000 lions. In Kenya, I said we have 2,500, and we helped do a national census for lions to come up with this number.
Yeah, I'm looking really quickly. So I think outside of Africa, the only place that has wild lions is India, if I'm not mistaken. And quick check on that is about 600 lions in India. So most lions in the world are in Africa and in the countries that Evan's been talking about. So I'm glad we got that question. Thanks, guys. YouTubers, don't be shy if you want to share any questions, but we're going to do another round with everyone. Miss Lango's class, if you guys want to come back in, unmute your mic, and you're good to go. Hey.
Right, we're over. No, nice and loud. How do lions survive in the wild?
Yeah. How do they survive in the wild, Evanson?
Just like they live in a normal family setup like we do, a pride male taking care of its family, and the family could be several females and cubs. So what normally happens, just like human beings do, they will go looking for food. So for them, they hunt because they are predators. They will hunt zebra, giraffe, warthogs, whatever they come across in the wild, that's what they will hunt and they will eat. Once they eat, they are fed, they will take a nap. They rest most of the times. Undisturbed, they will just rest until when it is time for them to go and look for more food.
Yep. Fantastic question, guys. I mean, again, every animal is adapted to its environment, so they'll find ways to survive. It's an unusual situation if they're not living in the wild. We want to make sure that animals are in the wild and are thriving there, and that's where some of this amazing work comes into play. So I like that question, guys. We're going to take 2 more before we wrap up. Time flies when you're having fun. I do want to note again, at EWASOLions.org, check out the amazing work that they do. I'll email all our teachers with that in just a minute. But we're going to head to Miss Walling's class, Lake Avenue, if you want to come back in. And Miss Puentes will wrap up with you in a minute. Hey, folks. Yep. You're good.
Why do you use medicine for the lions?
A good question. If a lion gets injured, we have to do some interventions. So for EWASO Lions, we normally have a veterinary unit for wildlife. And it is a partnership with other close conservation partners that we work with in the landscape. So we have a veterinary doctor who is deployed by the government service, the Kenya Wildlife Service, to take care of injured lions. So in case we want to do collaring for a lion, the lion has to be sedated for the collar to be put on. That is the veterinary officer who does that kind of work.
Yep. Great question, guys. I found that really interesting. It's very rare that we have conservation groups that work to heal animals in the wild or spend so much effort on livestock and on dogs and cats. It's a really special part of the work that you do. So I'm so glad you highlighted that. Ms. Puentes, we're going to wrap up with you. One final question, folks. Thank you all for your energy, your enthusiasm. Great audience today, everyone from all across North America. But come on in for one final query. Hey.
I was wondering, how much do you work with lions?
Yeah. Is it every day? Is it all day long? How often are you working with lions, Evanson?
It's normally every day of the month, except for 4 days that we take off days. So in a month, for 30 days, 26 days, we are at work. And we only take off days for 4 days.
And just in case the question was going with this direction, I know you talked about your love of working with kids. How many days are you actually seeing lions, like out in the field with them, as opposed to, I don't know, anything else? Or are you seeing lions every day that you're working? Because that would be amazing.
With the children, not always, but 99% we normally get a chance to see lions. When we go out with kids on safari, we 99% get to see lions. We make sure that they see lions.
Like that is, it is just remarkable. It's so hard to fathom for someone who, again, Canadians, Americans today, that you'd have the chance to see such an amazing creature. I went to Tanzania back in 2014 and we saw lions every time we went out on game drives. Like they are they're a fairly easy animal to find, unlike some other creatures like rhinos and leopards, which are a little more furtive and hiding.
Exactly.
Evanson, thank you so much for this today, man. You're doing such incredible work at EWASO Lions. I really appreciate you joining us today. And we're going to bring in our kids to say a big thank you and farewell. So Miss Longo's class, Miss Puentes' class, Miss Walling's class, if you want to unmute your microphones. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.